Hi Kings of War players, for the first time on this channel I'll be playing the Herd against Salamanders.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Welcome back, and as I said earlier, this is the Herd versus Salamanders, and this game pointage is pretty interesting at 1800 points because my opponent is taking part in an Australian one-day Universal Battle Tournament that's 1800 points. So these are our lists. So for myself, I have some chaff in 2 sets of Harpies and Forest Shamblers and Centaur Bray Hunter troops. I also have Centaur Bray Hunter regiments. This functions as some light shooting in my list because I do like to have a bit of light shooting in my list so that the chaff pieces of the opponent can't just run wild. Okay, so every herd list will probably have Moonfang, is pretty much an auto include in my opinion, and I have my usual 2 flying beasts of natures, and I do have a druid and 1 blender unit in the Longhorns. They are regiment and they are crushing 1 thunderous 1 hit on 3s, 20 attacks. So with brew of strength, brew of sharpness, they hit on 2s with pretty much crushing 2 with thunderous 1 and pathfinder. And lastly, we have a lichen horde. They are pretty expensive, and if I had more points, I would give them a brew of strength, but I did not have enough points, so I gave them a staying stone instead. So for my opponent, KOW warriors as chaff, 2 Lachelidons, Corsairs, Unbloodied, Lancers, Tyrants, and we have the Firebrand and a Battle Captain. So this is our deployment. The scenario is invade, and for myself, I do have a scouting unit in the Forest Shamblers, so they deployed here and they scouted upwards, staying out of charge range of the Lancers. So you can see that my deployment is pretty much split into 3 very distinct clumps, and I like to deploy them as center and the 2 sides. So usually I think these will take the center because the Longhorns being only speed 6 compared to the rest of my army, they want to be centrally located so that they can be useful most of the time. And so my 2 side forces are much faster, and from how I deploy, you can tell that I'm trying to punch through on the left side. My left side has more hitting powers, while the right side, the centaurs that can shoot, will probably be shooting and backing up or delaying as much as I can. So my opponent won the roll off, but he decided to let me go first, which I thought was an interesting choice, especially in invade. Invade is quite advantageous to go first because that allows you to move up the board because you want to get past the center line, right? As when you move up the board, it restricts the opponent from moving up the board, so it'll be tougher for the opponent to get past the center line. So one thing straight off the bat is on the right side, I shot off the Lachelidon, which unfortunately isn't inspired. So it's with some shots from the Bray Hunters, they went down, and my troop shot at the KOW warriors and wavered them. So looking pretty good for a start, and you can see that my Harpies are situated behind the hill and behind the forest so that they don't get shot at. So my opponent's response, so on the left he shuffled things upwards, and on the left side the Lachelidon shot at the Beast of Nature, while on the right side the Corsairs shot at the Centaur Bray Hunter regiments, and for the center the Corsairs shot at the Forest Shamblers, and then the KOW warriors moved up to sort of be chaff, right? So for the center, my response, I didn't want to charge in because you can see a lot of big stuff coming in, the Tyrants, the Lancers, so I didn't want to go in. For the left side, I saw these 2 units were easy to pick off, and he did position the Battle Captain on Rhinosaur and the Unbloodied to charge in, but unfortunately the Unbloodied do only have Thunderous, and actually my Harpies can see them because they're on the hill, right? So Harpies charge into them, while my units all killed off the Lechilodon and the KOW warriors. So the Harpies actually did 5 damage because of a flank charge to the Unbloodied, but the most important thing is it took off their Thunderous. So what else happened on the right side? So let's talk about the middle first. So I backed up the middle, so that will delay my opponent, especially when nothing is in charge range other than the KOW warriors. Nothing is in charge range of my center force over here. So on the right side, I decided to charge in, and I decided to charge in on the right towards the side most unit. So should I fail to route, it will be less disastrous for me. So I did fail to route, and so my centaurs are definitely going down, but the plus side of it is the beast of nature is safer rather. Yeah, if I were to charge something in the middle and it failed to route, then I'll be eaten from both sides. So when you're charging in, do consider charging the one that's most to the side. So let's look at my opponent's response. So my opponent charged at my Lycans on the left side. The Unbloodied went in without Thunderous, and the Captain of Rhinosaur went in, and somehow there's a difficult terrain, so they are hitting on they're hitting less accurate in hitting, and Thunderous 1 lost from the Rhinosaur. I think they have Thunderous 2, so they lose 1 Thunderous, I think. Okay, the rest of the stuff shuffled up. The center, the KOW did charge into the Forest Jamblers, dealing 1 damage. And the Corsairs, the second turn, they finally are able to maneuver themselves to see around the forest and shot at my Harpies. Good thing is they did not rout or waver. So let's see the disaster on the right side. So expectedly, my centaurs did go down to a flank charge by the Fire Drake and the KOW warriors. So there is a skull here, so that means the Corsair was wavered from my initial charge at least. So the Beast of Nature is pretty much safe, fresh. Okay, but that also means the only charge target is the Corsairs. So let's look at my response. On the right side, sorry, let's start from left to right. On the left side, my Lycans finished up the already injured 5 damage injured Unbloodied regiment. I think they are defense 4, so crushing, so I'll do about another 8 more damage. Yep, so that's pretty expected. And these two, the monster and the hero, charged the battle captain, but I did not route it. And in the meantime, my Harpies went to charge and chaff up the Tyrants, so that I'm going to charge the Tyrants next round. So let's see what happened in the middle. So my Forest Shamblers countercharged the KOW and managed to take them out, which is a pretty good news. I should do about 3 to 4 damage, so it's not a very high realm of impossibility. So what also happened is the Forest Shamblers are smaller base compared to my Longhorns, because Longhorns are large, or rather heavy infantry, so they're 125 millimeters in base, while the Forest Shamblers are 120. So the Lancers, if I were to leave it like before, I'm sticking up 2.5 millimeters on each side, so the Lancers are able to just charge and clip the edge. So instead, what I did is I just slide my guys sideways, so instead the full 5 millimeters is sticking out on the other side, but without with no, what do you call that, the nimble, they're not able to charge and clip the other side. So what else happened here? So of course another trick you can do is to tilt, use the diagonal of the Forest Shamblers, because the diagonal would be more than 125 millimeters, so that you can cover. Okay, so let's see what happened on the right side. So I did finish off the Corsairs, and I turned to face the side over here. So fortunately, the Fire Drake is facing off at the troop. So in the meantime, my Druid just stays hidden. I don't want it to be shot off. And also to be able to assist either side with the Steed, he can move pretty fast. So just in case I need to support the center. So what else happened? Let's look from left to right. So the battle captain countercharged the beast of nature, dealing some damage. The tyrants finished off the the harpies. So the corsairs moved into the forest to shoot at the forest shamblers, hoping to take them out because he's trying to win this trade, right? If it takes off the forest shamblers, then I will have to charge the corsairs and his lancers will come in. Okay, so he's trying to win this trade. Fortunately, my forest shamblers held, and then he repositioned his lancers a little bit. And because it's invade, so his unblooded regiment is pushing up the board. Down here at the bottom, the KOW warriors position itself, while the fire drake moved around and breathed into the beast of nature, dealing 2 damage. This game, Firebrand has been underperforming quite a bit. He missed a lot of shots and attacks. So my response, I took out with these 2 units, I took out the tyrants. So this is what happened in the middle. So I actually moved my forest shamblers out of the way, and I charged the corsairs with my blender unit, the longhorns, and then I pivot to not expose this part of the frontage. So once again, his lancers cannot charge in at the longhorns, and on top of that, I charged the unit of centaurs into the lancers because it's gonna die to unblooded charge most likely. It has very low nerf, so I might as well deal some damage, and the flank charge deals the most damage, so I dealt 4 damage to the lancers. So over there at the bottom, the beast of nature killed the Gekota and turned around to face the fire drake. So let's see what he did. Let's just start from the fire drake. The fire drake continued dancing around and breathed at me. The unblooded regiments turned around to face the centaurs. So the lancers took out the forest shamblers, but now he's gonna get charged by both the longhorns and these elf lichens. So it looked like I triple charged into his lancers, or maybe double charge. Can't remember what happened exactly. And yeah, so I faced around, and I missed a few screenshots in between, but basically this is pretty much the end of the game. So managed to take out most of the stuff except the Firebrand and the Fire Drake. Okay, so let's look at learning points. So deploy your units in inspiring range, especially Chaff, because Chaff might go down very easily to some light shooting and even 1 spike of the nerf dice. So it'll be quite good to deploy your units in inspiring range. And if you don't want your things to be shot at, do deploy the units in cover or out of line of sight. So if I have a very fragile chaff, sometimes I'll deploy them behind the forest or hills to make sure my opponent can't shoot at them. So for invade, I think it's a good idea to go first if you can. Next, battle group. So I like to think of my forces as a battle group, and I usually have a template of my center force and my 2 side force. So from that template, you can shuffle things around according to the situation, but it's good to start with a template so that you don't start completely blank and don't know what to do, how to deploy your units. So the side forces usually have these components: chaff, hammer, support hammer, and inspiring source. So center forces, chaff, anvil, inspiring source, maybe hammer, maybe no. And I usually decide from the start or early on in the game which side I'm gonna push through and which side I'm gonna hold. So I already decided from the start of the game that the center and the right side will try to hold, while the left side will push through. So I did charge in early on the right side, but I did expect to route and turn around, and that will hopefully hold my opponent there for quite a while. And that wonderful centaur troop did hold the right side for quite a while with the beast sort of in his grill. So this is how I deployed, right? So yeah, 3 groups. Next, so when you're unsure, try to charge the opponent's units at the side so that it minimizes the reprisal. So that is talking about this over here. So imagine if I were to charge the firebrand instead, which is here, right? So I would be exposed on both sides to be flanked on both on the left and on the right, and my beast and the centaurs will both die. So that's why I chose to charge the units that's most to the side, so that will minimize the reprisal as well. So at least my centaurs died, but my beast did not die. So you want to kill your opponent's chaff while keeping your own alive. So that's why I like to call the chaff war. So remember this situation here. So he did send his chaff in, but his chaff did not break through my chaff. So when I killed his KOW warriors in return, my chaff was still standing, right? And then he decided to try to trade the Corsair in, but then I killed the Corsair while my chaff was still blocking his lances. So this is what you try to aim to do every game. So working with chaff with smaller frontage, so this is like my Forest Shamblers being a smaller frontage than my Longhorns, so it can still work. So decide the angle, push it slightly to the side. And yeah, so this is 1,800 points, so I do have a 2,300 points list. So thinking about the herd, I'm thinking that herd is all glass cannons, glass hammers, right? There's very few things with high defense in the list. Longhorns have only defense 4, Lycans have defense 4, and the Minotaur chariots have defense 5, but I find it very hard to work them into lists because they don't unlock. That's one of the key things, and they are quite costly. They do kill when they charge, but I don't think killing power is something I don't lack in the herd. So I do enjoy, I do like having 3 beasts of natures. So I like to have 1 on each flank. And then I recently had a game where I saw 2 beasts of nature side by side, which is also very powerful. So having 3 will allow me to have 2 side by side and 1 on the flank. Okay, so what else? I do have more centaurs. They're there to help me unlock as well. And I'd like to keep 1 unit of Bray Hunter so that I do have that light shooting to threaten chaff. Sometimes it's not that the shooting is very effective, but just having that alone will not let your opponent's gargoyles stand anywhere they like, So that's why I like to have a little bit of shooting in my list. So these are my characters. So I decided to try to maximize the number of fighting units in my list. So here's another variation I thought of. Instead of the druid with a Bane Chan, I replace it with a Centaur Chief. So I do have 3 units of Centaur, so if the Centaur Chief runs with them, it can inspire them and it serves as my individual fighter that can ground units, right? So and then another change I'm considering is to change out the Longhorns. They are quite costly. The Lycans are quite costly as well, but speed 9 nimble is quite good, and with Brew of Strength they are crushing too. Just that you have to keep them alive. Yeah. So the Lycan Alpha will be probably running with them. Moonfang inspires anything, so I'll see depending on the situation. So another variation I'm thinking of is to take out the Longhorns so that I can add in 1 more unit of Brave Striders, and with the 80 points remaining, I'm going to shuffle my chaff a little bit. So by doing this, I have 3 pieces of chaff instead of 2. Yeah, because I'm 10 points short of having 3 sets of harpies, so I save the 10 points. I squeeze in the 10 points by switching 2 of them to Girl Panthers. So 2 Girl Panthers and 1 harpy. So this is my other variation of list. So this is something I'm looking forward to try, because everything in this list fights, so there's no support units. So I'm pretty excited to give this a try when I can in future. So that's it for my battle report. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please give this video a like. So consider subscribing to the channel, and do hit the bell icons to be notified of my future battle reports. And this is Paige signing off.